It was always.
Alright, tell me when you're ready, Alex.
I don't know if we'll ever be ready.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Unique.
Alright,
Whenever your boat's ready to float.
okay. Of the 3 elephants that I've met, each one has reached me in a unique way. Each experience has been deep and powerful. Their wisdom and ability to forgive past problems and ability to trust again, even after the most horrific experiences, is memorable. A writer for National Geographic states that more than half of Thailand's elephants are in captivity. In the past, they were used for transportation, religious festivals, and war back in 2000 BCE. Today, they are forced to abandon their babies to go work in illegal logging and tourism camps. Because of this, the babies are forced to wander the city streets, motherless. First, you will learn the problems from keeping an elephant captive, the causes of the problems, and lastly, you will learn what you can do to solve the problems of elephant captivity, and how you can prevent it from happening at all. Now, here are some of the problems with keeping an elephant captive in general. First off, they are brutalized so that they will work harder. Another writer for National Geographic named Sasha Ingber states that the captive elephants are isolated from their homes, lacking the freedom to roam, and at the mercy of their owners. Some die decades earlier than their wild counterparts. From war elephants to circus elephants, thousands of them face a similar fate. Sasha has recently spoken with Carol Buckley, who has co-founded a 2,700-acre natural habitat elephant sanctuary in Tennessee. She's joined Carol in Thailand to improve the living conditions of captive elephants. Another problem that they face are health problems, some of which include bone infection, arthritis, colic, and herpes. Herpes deaths among captive elephants in Asia is epidemic. Records indicate that a high percentage of captive elephants in Asia have been exposed to and die from a disease named tuberculosis. Elephants spread this disease to other elephants almost the same way as humans do to humans, by sneezing and coughing. Yet another problem for elephants in captivity is the living conditions. They're usually chained, underfed, and beaten. The captors use them in tourist sites equipped with poor quality saddles that cause them aches and sores that worsen over the weeks. They're hit over the head with heavy sticks, iron pipes, hatchets, stabbed with knives, and the pointed end of an ankus. An ankus is a spiked stick used for hurting the elephant if it isn't doing what it's supposed to. Now, some people believe that keeping an elephant captive could save them from poachers or provide food for them that they can't find for themselves. In fact, zoos believe that they've been able to save them. The zoos that believe they've been able to save them have done nothing to save them. In today's zoos, elephants suffer from lack of exercise, family, and organic vegetation. They stand on rough, hard surfaces for hours a day, and some are beat with bull hooks so their trainers can control them. Circus elephants face the same problems, except they're chained in railroad cars. They stand and sleep in their own ways and are forced to perform unnatural tricks. They are physically beaten in order to force them to reform. Many suffer from a problem called post-traumatic stress disorder from this. Ingber states that in order to qualify as the best facility for an elephant, you would need to meet the needs of the species by providing hundreds and thousands of acres, keep them with at least one herd of related elephants, and have its food and correct habitat provided. The elephants are like prisoners of war, knowing that their day-to-day existence relies on their captors. Now here are some causes of the problems of elephant captivity. To begin with, they are no longer tender and loving to their owners. They become deadly and more willing to attack. Because of this, they get whipped and beaten even more. Now you might ask yourself, why would the captors beat them in the first place if the elephants are just going to become more and more hostile later on? Well, they do it for the entertainment. In Thailand circuses, the audiences love seeing an angry elephant contained in a chamber with its captor. It's good for business, but for the elephants, it's complete torture. They become nothing like their families that are still out there in the wild and become nothing but beasts. Now, the results of sickness in captive elephants are terrible. Seattle Times states that the elephants die almost every day in zoos from the diseases they gather. Since zoos lack the power to provide a large open space for the elephants, they're in such close quarter that it spreads quickly. Tuberculosis is the leading disease causing death in elephants, and this has all resulted from their captivity. The Serum Project from the Elephant Nature Foundation says that it's unethical to keep any animal in captivity unless their needs are met, and it's impossible to meet the needs of an elephant if it's being held captive. This is basically a death sentence for them. Bringing them into captivity only exposes them to a slower and more painful death. Now, all this talk about beaten and dying elephants, you probably want to know what you can do to support them. Well, rule number 1, do not buy ivory. Ivory is an expensive jewelry that poachers kill elephants for. They get it from their tusks. Poachers use this money for their own personal needs or to buy more jewelry to adorn their elephants with. This adds another 100 to 200 pounds to the elephant's overall weight. This is another thing that strains their legs and knees. Another thing you can do is anytime you're vacationing or going somewhere and you see a place selling elephant rides, do not buy a ride. If you want to support the freedom of elephants in captivity, riding them is obviously a big thing that you shouldn't do. We don't want their captors rich, so they'll keep opening riding places, do we? So rule number 2, no riding elephants. Yet another thing you can do is join movements. There are plenty of movements out there committed to saving the lives of these helpless captive elephants. And you could join one with the push of a button. In doing this, you could donate monies so that organizations could buy more land, therefore containing more elephants. And that means there will be less elephants for poachers and hunters to capture and sell. Now that you've learned all about problems, causes, and what you can do to help these elephants, it's time to wrap this up. I hope I've taught you all on the lives of those suffering adult and baby elephants. Remember, you can do something to stop this. They're in chains out there. Picture this. A mother and baby elephant walking together through the deep jungles of Thailand. And all of a sudden, a net is thrown over the mother elephant. The baby watches, terrified, while the mother is chained down and sold into captivity. The baby is now forced to roam the forest, motherless, and it sometimes dies in depression. I believe that with this knowledge, you can stop this from happening, therefore saving the lives of the elephants for days to come.